All right, fellas, part 2 of the MasterCraft Master Tiller project coming up. Now, in the first part, we basically, well, I got the machine. It was a mess. It was a little rusty. We did some diagnostics, try to figure out what's going on with this thing. And as is so common, I don't know, the past year, it's just been brutal for these Briggs 190cc's. I don't know what it is. All of a sudden, I came into all of these engines because they're very common. They're found on almost everything. Briggs & Stratton 190cc, horizontal shaft, kind of their mainstay motor. They literally put it on everything. It's a decent motor, but its problem is water. Like, it comes in through the muffler because the muffler comes up and sits high. Big hole. All right, it's got a big hole in the exhaust output, so water finds its way in. And then I don't know what was going on with that gas tank. There was so much water in that. Got the valve unstuck, the valve was stuck, and we got the motor back together, and now we can turn our attention to the rest of it. Now, a quick evaluation, getting the tines to move and everything, it looked like we could definitely get it working again. But it's still a bunch of work to try to get the tines moving. This transmission, as poking around with it, I mentioned it a little bit in the video, like there is no way to refill it. It's crimped together. And we'll take a look a little bit later on about a tiller I just got that the transmission looks the same, but it's bolted together and it's broken. And it basically operates the same way. Chain inside, gears, could be grease, I don't know. We'll find out. Both of them basically work the same way. The one that I just picked up basically for free, that's a much older MTD unit, much beefier. Uses the older Briggs motor, flathead, which is really cool. I'm going to do a wheel it run on that. So stay tuned for that. So anyway, we're going to get to the transmission part, put it all back together, and give it a test. It's just so sad to see what people do with these machines. This is nothing that's really wrong with this machine is the machine itself, other than the susceptibility that these engines have to water. This is all user horror. Like, some user gets their hands on this thing and literally pounds it into the ground, Let's get started on the video. I'll see you guys in a bit. Oh my! Oh my God! Oh God! Oh, it's blocking out the sun! Alright, I got a lot more lubricant in. What I'm going to do is when I wash it, when it's dry, we'll come back and we'll add more lubricant. And I've just been knocking the pins a little bit. I don't want to deform them. And knocking a few spots and just trying to get, some vibrations in. I see movement, right? We're doing good. Just loosening up. But the object is just to get it moving, and you can see, look, I now have, it's moving pretty good. All right, and I can move it by hand. Okay, so it's unstuck. We're going to do the same thing to the other one. I don't know where the drain plug is for the gear set, but my guess is, maybe it doesn't have one. I don't feel anything. You would think it would be so. I mean, it would have something, right? Decided to work on it a little bit. So this has been sitting for a couple of weeks with my tranny sauce on it, and I'm making a mess. I'm splattering it all over myself. I'm just keep lubricating it and driving it up and down, back and forth. My concern though is that you can peen over the edge, and of course you can wind up getting the pin locked. But I got one out, yay! And the others I'm working on, I'm just going to keep lubricating it, knock them down, then flip it, turn it over, try to free them up. This one's pretty stuck. This one I got moving. This one is moving, so that one is going to be tough for now. I might come back in with a little wire wheel or something. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that. I couldn't get these off. we got all the pins out, which is good. And that means that we can turn these around in the opposite direction, I believe, right? So I think one of the benefits was you could do something like this. Yeah. Yeah, so you could cut these sort of paths. One is tilling and one is furrowing, I believe. We're going to leave the pins out for now. We got a lot of lubricant on them. I'm going to clean this up. We'll bring it outside. We'll clean it up with the wire wheel. It's a mess. I made a mess. We'll get all this stuff sort of polished up as best we can. My problem is if I try to use heat, as you can see, there's a seal there. So that's no good. I'm also going to take a look. So we'll sharpen this up. We'll clean everything up. Wire wheel. Sharpen all these tines. I like tang better. You guys like tang? What do you like better, tang or tines? What's a tine, Art? In relationship to a tang? That's the alternative variant that everybody's talking about today. Get it!
My king, this woke shit was just delivered.
Excellent. My people will love it.
All right, I think so. The parts machine yielded these nice wheels, which are original. And those are I guess they must have broken, so somebody put a mismatched set. I'm not sure. That one's kind of stuck on there. This is a little bit cleaner, right? It's got a little less rust on it, but we don't care about that. It's just surface rust and paint, some bit of paint missing. But it's the same thing. And let's go take a look at that machine, right? That's why I'm thinking it is a parts machine, because it's, what do you see? I was thinking about using like an acid, like muriatic or something, and, you know, setting it up one day for just to sit with muriatic acid on it, but nothing is moving. Like this will move if I go from the pulley. Oh, wait, here we go. But there they are. I can't see them, but there they go. Nice. I caught one of them. So anyway, what I was saying was, this is truly, I think, a parts machine. This is now stuck. Wait, why is that stuck now? That's now stuck. That was not stuck before. I did get it to move, but this is in very poor shape. I don't think you'll ever be able to really clean these up. These are so pitted. And of course, if you can't get these off, then the transmission is useless. And these tines look a little bit more worn. So it may very well be that this is the end of the road for this guy. It uses a different, the other one on the table has a plastic piece here. Maybe we want to see if we could take this in the cable, just in case. But we'll come to that in a little bit. It's all cracked and, you know, broken. So yeah, let me see what I want to do. All right, I put a new, pretty new 40 grit fresh disc on. No, excuse me, that's a 60 grit. So 40 grit would be even better. It comes up real quick. It just doesn't take that long. It's only on one end. And it doesn't have to be absolutely mint or like super sharp, just not dull, right? Not blunted. So we'll do this one and the other one there. And these here, I have it just set up like this so we can just kind of roll through them. And I'll just put a quick edge in, you know, just wipe everything down, bring it back in. I think we'll mount the engine. It's not hard. That's what she said. Wire wheeled, wiped it down, ground it. I'm happy with that. We're going to put some grease on that. All right, it'll protect the steel. Not worried about getting dirt in it, right? We want to protect the steel. We don't care. Grease will absorb some of that. These are all cleaned out too and all sharpened. Bring it back in. And we're going to try to mount the motor. Well, it's always nice to have a few extra tools laying around, so I just reamed that out. That's a nice little reamer, huh? It's actually a two-step. It's really aircraft stuff. So now it's nice and clean. Everything is all lubed up, and we can I cleaned up a pin, and I greased up the pin. So we have a nice pin to put in there, and it won't get stuck. And I think the other ones will move. The other tines will move eventually, right? We'll keep lubricating them. So I can get, let's see, it's this one I think. If I can get this in here, let me turn this over this way. Yeah, I might be able to get it this way, we'll see. See, I can't really get in there well. See how that's in the way there? So it really depends.
Enjoying life is so much easier when you have the best bladder control protection. With Depend.
I just grabbed it with a vice grip and worked it in slow. Clean it out and I'll finish this up. Alright, we got the motor on and I cleaned up a belt and I'm working out a few things. Everything's tight. Going through some of the hardware. This whole handle is really loose, so it could have oblonged out the holes that are drilled through that pipe. Clean up this hardware and this. And I put a better washer on, a thick washer, because the other washer was beat. So I'm going to put it back and retighten. You know, we could fix this. Maybe we can, you know, take the other pipe, see how twisty it is, and I'm not sure what I can really do for that, but it is what it is. So this just goes here. There's no washer or anything on that. Well, let me blammo that on. I'll make that tight, and then I got to rig up the pulley system and fix all that up, and it's getting there, right? Just checking to see whatever. And there's still a lot of loose bolts, you know. Check for tight. All right, it's all sorted out. We're not going to put the cover on yet. I mean, it'll run because we know this works. I'm going to put a little more fuel in it. So we already know the engine works, but we're going to run it up and see. Everything is lubricated and checked and tight. We just want to watch to see how the belt goes. If all of that works well, bring it back. I'll put the cover on. I'll wipe it off. Maybe put a little quick clear coat on it, right, to keep it nice so it doesn't rust. I'll see you guys in a minute. Put a little gas in it. I'll fill it up more tomorrow if everything works out good. So then I'm going to go about midway, set it to choke, and we shouldn't have to do anything else. It should just run, all right? There we go. Running good. There we go. Alright, I see it wearing the belt a little bit. It's hitting here. Something's catching the belt. We have another belt. It looks like it's not on right. Let me sort this out. There we go. That's better. And I'm going to pry these open a little bit more. Just give them a little bit more. We'll retake. Hold on. You know, if we break the belt, we got another one. Remember, these belts are old and they haven't been run in a long time. That looks okay there. I'm just going to open this up a little bit. Just like that. And this one too. Just a check. And let's retry it. Now, I could kill this belt. We got others. Restart. Choke? Yeah, maybe. Even better than my pressure washer. I think that'll work. I think that'll work, fellas. It looks a little bit like it started to wear the belt, but the belt's not hot. And don't forget, this is an old belt. So maybe it'll last, maybe it won't. Maybe that's all it needed. All right, let me do the final cleanup. We'll take a look. That's not bad. All right, what do you guys think? I think it looks really good. I'm pretty happy so far. What are you doing, Mr. Doggy? He's like, what's that camera doing coming at me? What are you doing? You know, there's poop right there. You guys want to see it? No, you don't want to see that. He's an old geezer. All right, we're going to start off using this. We'll get a look at the underside. Some of you guys already know what this is. But this was an old one, commercial, and the motor was shot. The valves were shot. I went over some of that. She burns a little oil, but you know, the idea was to kind of restore this. Let's take a look underneath. Right, this thing's pretty heavy duty. It's aluminum, it's heavy. It's got grease fittings on the wheels, and look at this blade. This is for grinding things up. That's what we're going to be doing with it. So we're going to grind. Well, what are we going to grind, Art? Well, you're going to see. Let's take a look at this little patch of garden area. Been around for a long time. Let's get you in the weeds, fellas. Okay. So first we're going to grind it. I already ground it once this year. You could see how weedy it is. We're in the weeds. See how tall some of them are. So I'm just going to go over it. There's grass here. I'm surprised I didn't see any tomatoes or anything, but it hasn't been, you know, ever since I sold my good rototiller, which just kills me. I used a Mantis last year, and a Mantis is good, but it can't really do what the big rototiller is going to do. This is pretty. I left it here. It's pretty big, but we also have these wild roses growing, and just kind of push everything back a little bit because the garden isn't all that big. So to have something, even though this is beautiful, it's kind of in the way. All right, let's get started. All right, fellas, this is it in the sun. All right, we're gonna put it to work. It's its maiden voyage from a wrecked seas. Well, this wasn't seas, that bad valve, so the valve was stuck open, didn't run, rusting. All right, let's quit babbling and get some footage.
Tonight on The Curse of Woke Island, Anheuser-Busch is practically giving their beer away amidst declining sales. Could it be that people are sick of corporate woke agendas? And the world's largest brewing company is royally fucked?
It did well. I'm just going to clean it off. Although this is a little loose. I think it needs another one of these washers, see? Which is like a conical washer. And then, because what's happening is you probably can't see it now, but, hey, right, that's no good. All right, so it's not locking in. So I'll fix that. And this helped, but you don't always need it because you can just drag it on the wheels. So I got to move it. I got to move this up in order to move it. And on my old one, I had a really big set of like the front tires of like a tractor because that thing was huge with the reverse. So I could take the other bracket and maybe put like a pneumatic tire on, and that would make it easier to move around. So just a thought. Hey, it doesn't even really get dirty. So I'm just going to rinse this off, and you saw what it looked like. I'm just going to give it a rinse with the hose and then run it until it's out of fuel and put it away for now, until the next time. Same thing with that guy, right? We'll do the same thing later. That's not bad. What's that thing flying over there? He's like, oh, I'm looking for something. It looks real good. So I'm just going to rake it a little bit and pull out some of these clumps. My neighbor says this is like black gold because it's topsoil down like a foot. And it definitely did rip up a lot of the roots. It was getting root bound. I didn't get all of them. Sometimes it's good to go through twice. That's something growing, huh? Look at that. I wonder what that was. Bean or something? But it is really good soil. So that's what I'm going to do now. There's some rocks in it. You know, you're going to get that, but they're good to have. And I'll pull out any of the garbage that's in here. But yeah, I'm happy. This hasn't been done in a very long time. The little guy that I have, the little Mantis, it's okay for like, you know, making little furrows or whatever. But this was bad. It was definitely in the need. Yeah, let me go get a garbage bag and start picking the junk out. Well, it's nice and clean. It's the end of the day. But I flatten it out. We'll make our furrows when we're ready to plant this week. Let the bugs pick at all the... Well, some of it's worms, but because there's some grass in there, there'll probably be some grubs. Once I get out of here and no one's around, they'll be picking at it. All right, fellas, take a look. It's almost the end of the summer. Look at this thing. Yeah, I gotta cut back in here a little bit. God knows what's in here at this point now. It's just literally, I don't really do much. There's a pepper plant there that's just getting buried. So I'm gonna have to do something with that. Cut back a little bit over here, let it get more sun. We got the Romas over here, they're doing really good. I'm gonna have to stake them down. There's basil here, but it's getting shrouded. But it's starting to grow. Something's attacking it. Zucchini. Onion. A whole bunch of stuff. There's some herbs. Yeah, it's too small, really. All right. I guess back there is either pumpkin or squash, which is squashing everything. All right, fellas, that was a success. I'm very happy with the machine. I wanted to show you guys real quick this old guy that I picked up. I did a will it run on it, kind of showed it on the live, but I'm not sure at this point when I'm going to release it, or by the time you guys see this, if it's already been released. Older MTD style rototiller, I'd say, you know, built beefier, much better construction. The older stuff is built really well, as opposed to the new stuff. Now, the tiller in question here in this video, you know, as you see, it works really good. If I can get another one running, I'll sell this one. But this one works really good, and I think I caught everything in time with the exception of getting the inside tines off and out. At some point, I'll turn my attention to that, but I'm hoping that they'll just loosen up. And I keep going over to it periodically, and I spray some lube on it or whatever, and I keep mine clean. So I keep them nice, and I rinse them off after I'm done. I don't have to re-pressure wash or anything. I just rinse them off and I lubricate them. And I get oil in there. You know, you can use used motor oil, for God's sakes, you know, from your car or your lawnmower. It doesn't matter. Just shove it all over the tines and put the damn thing away, run the engine out when you're done at the end of the year, because it's probably only going to be used a couple of times, and that's it. And that's the problem. People just shove these things to the side and they don't care anymore. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Archer's Garage.